And as Harry Neal pointed out, he didn't think that Kent Nielsen deserved an assist in that goal by Glenn Anderson, and in fact it has been taken away from him and credited to Kevin Lowe, the man who fired it in. Ruotsalainen keeps it in at the line. Jim Kite gets control. He tried to clear it in, hit the referee, Gary Fraser, and Fraser took that one on the arm as the Jets now start out, led by Doug Smale, working against Greg Smale. A backhand shot. The save is made by Grant Fuhr. Gretzky leading the attack for Edmonton. He gains the blue line. Pass ice, and it bounced away from Messier. Kept in at the point by Gregg. It goes into the corner, picked up there by Marois. Marois can't get out against Ruotsalainen, gets another opportunity to bring it out, and dumps it down into the Edmonton zone.
Gretzky made a great pass, kind only he can make. And Winnipeg was a little fortunate. The puck seemed to roll when it got to Messier.
It's amazing how he threads it through.
You can see through his ears, Don. I've said it for years.
Fired in by the Oilers. Randy Carlyle races in after it. Plays it around in the boards, but kept in by Huddy. He goes across ice to Tikkanen. Makes the shot to Coffey. Coffey tees it up. A shot right on. Berthiaume makes the save. 5 seconds remaining in the penalty to Hamel. Gretzky at the line. Dumps it in to Tikkanen out front. Nobody in position. Here's a breakaway for Gilles. Hamel coming out of the penalty box. Hamel going in. Saved by Grant Fuhr.
Well, Hamel shot it right at Fuhr, but Fuhr didn't move first, and that's probably why he did.
Gretzky hit the goalpost as he let a shot go. Now it's Tikkanen, and the pace is picked up in this second period, at least in the opening 2 minutes. Both clubs with great scoring opportunities as Marois brings it out. Marois is upset at the line, managed to get it ahead to Boschman. Boschman lost control of it, and the Oilers go to the attack. 17:48 remaining in the period. Kevin Lowe trying to go to the backhand, tied up by Jim Kite. The puck goes loose in the corner. Yari Curry back of the net for Gretzky. He's bodied and tied up by Jim Kite as Paul McLean plays it ahead to Hawerchuk. Hawerchuk, long shot just wide of the net. The rebound, Mullen with a shot, scores!
Well, Dale Hawerchuk, I think, got a stick on that and deflected it up over Fuhr on what looked like a harmless shot after Hawerchuk nearly beat Fuhr from about 50 feet out. Now here's the shot that nearly goes in, and you can see that had him beaten. Now Mullen comes and did a turnaround slap shot, and sure enough, or was it Muni that deflected it in? Let's have another look at it here. This is why we have replays.
A little inconclusive on that one as Hawerchuk was battling with Muni in front of the net. But Hawerchuk may have got a stick on it, but it was his big shot coming off the end glass that Mullen was able to spin around and fire on, and Hawerchuk gets the goal. Mullen and McLean drawing the assist. So the Jets lead by 1 again, 2:32 into period 2.
Well, you could guess that Hawerchuk tipped it by how high he jumped when it went in. He wouldn't jump that high if that had been Mullen's ball.
That's the telltale sign.
That's one of them.
The Oilers bring it out into the neutral zone. Glenn Anderson, who has their goal, flips a backhand shot that Berthiaume steers to the corner. Picked up by Tim Waters now, being chased by Kent Nielsen. Up on the boards and back out to center ice. Pass intercepted by Hawerchuk, coming in across the line. Hawerchuk takes the shot, went off a leg. Mullen is bodied in the corner. The puck goes loose, and Craig Muni picks it up for Edmonton. He dumps it out into the center ice area. Kent Nielsen gets it ahead to Messier. Messier to Nielsen! And he couldn't get a good shot away as he was tied up by Neufeld.
Neufeld fought back to take the 2-on-1 away.
Allen's shot whistled down at the line on the offside. From Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton, the Stanley Cup playoffs on CBC. The Edmonton line. Krushelnyski gets the draw back into his own zone. Ruotsalainen brings it out. A long shot off the glass. Krushelnyski picking it up. Couldn't get a shot. Ruotsalainen with a shot. The puck lying in the crease, and it's picked up by Neufeld. There's going to be a penalty, a holding call against the Winnipeg Jets. But that may have saved a goal. Live on CBC, Hockey Night in Canada.
And had he not held Krushelnyski's stick 26, see it right here? It was a goal. That was a good penalty.
Ruotsalainen Over to the other point to Gregg as they move it around to Tikkanen. Gretzky out front, it bounces high and is banked into the corner, picked out of the air by Marois, and the Jets' Jim Kite dumps it down the ice.
Well, you can see Edmonton, they like to throw it around the outside, but you rarely see a white shirt in front of the Winnipeg net, and I think that's a mistake. You have to have somebody to take the goaltender's attention away, or you're never going to beat him from the blue line, or very rarely.
Back at the point, Ruotsalainen to Gretzky. He lost it, and Kite dumps it the length of the ice with 1:20 remaining in the penalty to Laurie Boschman. Gary Curry, checked by Andrew McBain. Gilles Hamel overskated as he attempted to break in. Gretzky gets it back to Ruotsalainen. He's checked in the neutral zone. And the Jets' Dave Ellett shoots it back into Edmonton territory.
Well, Edmonton's having trouble even getting it over the red line, let alone into the Winnipeg zone. And Winnipeg's got those quick forwards that we talked about, and they're quick in the penalty killing situation as well.
47 seconds remaining in the penalty. Messier for Gretzky. Here's a man who can get things going to Paul Coffey, going for the net. Oh, it went off the post. He put a move on Daniel Bertium and then lost control of the puck, but it still trickled off his stick and hit the post.
Well, Bertium was very fortunate there because Coffey had him beaten. The old Gold Coast came into the play, and all goalies will tell you that's their best friend.
Here's Coffey again, throwing it out front. Ron Wilson intercepts and he flips it the length of the ice. 13 seconds left in the penalty to Laurie Boschman.
And Winnipeg looked like they're going to get away with another splendid penalty killing job. And what a difference it makes to your hockey team if you can play this part of the game as well as Winnipeg had it. If their power play was equally effective, look out.
Now with the Hockey Night in Canada update, here's Chris Cuthbert.
Gentlemen, it's over in Detroit. The Leafs are about to celebrate their third consecutive playoff win, this one at the expense of Harry Neal's former team. The Leafs wrest home ice from the Red Wings.
And Harry Neal, what are your thoughts about the performance of your former team against the Maple Leafs?
Well, the Maple Leafs played very well against St. Louis the last 3 games, and Detroit had a 9-day layoff, and I think that combination cost Detroit home ice advantage.
In the center ice area, Kevin Lowe shoots it in. Picked up off the boards by Barry. He tried to play it out. It went over the glass and out of play with 13:56 remaining in the second period.
And now Craig Muni plays Howardchuk much too soft here. He just stands by him instead of blocking him from going to the net, and it cost Edmonton a goal as Howardchuk redirected it over Fuhrer.
Face-off outside the Winnipeg line, 13:56 left in the second. 2-1, the Jets lead it. Dave Hunter. Back to the net for McClellan. Comes all the way around to the point for Craig Muni. He's having trouble there trying to keep it in. McTavish comes in to help out, but they can't move it. Now the Jets start back. Boschman in across the line. Long shot just misses the far corner. But Fuhrer had come down to challenge.
Well, I don't think Boschman could see a lot of the net as Fuhrer was 12 feet out of the goal and had that angle right down.
That centering pass bounced off a stick right in front of the Winnipeg net. Rooney drops it for Dave Allen. Allen goes rink wide. He was looking for Boschman. It bounced away from him, and then Boschman was tied up by Kevin Lowe as McTavish brings it back. He loses it. Boschman looking for Paul McLean. McLean can't do anything with it, but it's loose along the boards, and McTavish dumps it the length of the ice. This will be an icing call against the Edmonton Oilers with 12:54 remaining in the second period.
Well, Edmonton look a little sluggish to me. They don't look as on top of their game as Winnipeg seems to, and you know, I don't think there's much to choose between the speed of either one of these teams. But Edmonton hasn't been going at the clip that they can, and 7 days off can play havoc with your game shape, which is vital if you're going to feel the way you want to feel and play the way you want to play.
Well, Winnipeg has never won a postseason game in the National Hockey League against Edmonton. They've lost all 10 previous meetings. Back at the side of the Edmonton goal. The Oilers, against that forechecking of Winnipeg, having some problems breaking out of their own zone. Banged off the boards, and Randy Carlyle gathers it in for Winnipeg. Over to Tim Waters. He drives it right back into Edmonton territory. Howardchuk in the corner, lost it there to Ruotsalainen. He feeds it ahead to Mo LeMay. Dropping it off for Krushelnyski. Krushelnyski centering it. It goes wide to the corner, and the Jets come back. Paul McLean coming to the line, dodges a check for Howardchuk. It's offside.
And the Edmonton defense stood up very nicely on McLean there and caused that offside. And I know the coaches will tell you that an offside caused is as good as a body check as far as the defense is concerned. And that time, and Edmonton's defense is not known for standing up. They kind of back in a little too much. They were right on the ball there and caused this fellow to zig instead of zag, and offside went his way.
Pretty good trade John Ferguson made to acquire Paul McLean from St. Louis.
I guess so. There's not one of the other four even playing. And if you're watching out there, you were part of a good Winnipeg trade.
12:09 remaining in this second period. Hamel with Wilson and Smale for the Jets. Winnipeg shoots it in. Ruotsalainen picks it up behind his own net, leaves it there for Randy Gray. For McSorley. McSorley having problems getting out. Hamel has it. Hamel back of the net, trying to slide it out front. Wilson took a swipe at it. It was steered back to the line and out by Fuhr. Fired in by Kite, and then it bounces back out into the center ice area. The Jets go to the attack again. Doug Smale with that great speed, going to his backhand. His shot blocked by Gregg. It goes in behind the net, and Krushelnyski has it for the Edmonton Oilers. For McSorley. McSorley shoots it into Winnipeg territory, racing back after it is Marois. He bangs it along the boards, but not out. McSorley keeps it in. Krushelnyski trying to move with it. There's a whistle on the play. They rule that it did come out, and it was offside with 11:21 left in the second. The Winnipeg Jets, I think, are following their game plan to perfection so far.
Without question. This game is not wide open. There's very little great offensive play by either team for that matter, and most of the chances come off mistakes. And that's the way to beat Edmonton.
Gretzky with a shot right on, steered to the corner. Tikkanen tried to center it. It's picked off by Dave Ellett. Ellett rinked wide for Andrew McBain, too far, and Charlie Hughes chases it into his own zone. Bumped in the corner, picked up by Boschman. Boschman looked out front, but McBain couldn't get to it. It comes to the line and out with Curry leading the attack. Gretzky trailing over to Gretzky. Gretzky trying to get it across to Paul Coffey, coming in late, but he was tied up and the pass didn't get through. Here's Tikkanen stealing it. Tikkanen has it in the corner. Circling back to the line, takes a shot, knocked down in front, and Ray Neufeld leads a 3-on-2 for Winnipeg. Tikkanen and Curry did a good job of getting back into the play, particularly Curry. Now in the center ice area, Curry trying to get it across, broken up by Carlyle, and it's dumped back into the Edmonton zone. Mark Messier leaves it there, picked up by Howardchuk. Howardchuk looking back to the line. It bounced off the boards and is picked up by Curry. For Tikkanen. The Oiler attack looks just a little disorganized at times.
Well, Winnipeg's forechecking them very well.
Here's Messier coming in, and he has it knocked away from him as Winnipeg defenseman Tim Waters recovered nicely.
Edmonton looks to me to be trying to make the perfect play coming out of their own zone, and that extra second to find it is causing them to get the puck up very often.
Anderson drops it at the line. Nielsen, rink wide pass. Shot saved. The rebound in front. Another shot by Mooney. He put it off the post as it came back to the line. The Jets now bring it out. Mullen, rink wide pass intercepted by Glenn Anderson. Pretty passing by the Oilers, and they almost came up with that tying goal. Wilderson bumped by Kite. Messier has it in the corner out front, and Anderson couldn't get a good shot away, and Bertillon covers up and then slides it to the corner. Howardchuk bangs it off the boards and out.
You have to have good goaltending and a little luck to beat Edmonton when they're rolling, and we saw both on that last little
Kite plays it up along the boards, and now Dale Howardchuk goes rink wide to Doug Smale, working against Ruotsalainen, trying to go around him, and the Edmonton defenseman knocks him off the puck and plays it up along the boards for Dave Hunter. Hunter shoots it in, McClellan racing in. Save! They score! Dave Hunter backed it in, and the centering pass by McClellan.
Well, that was a good shoot-in by Hunter to start with. Edmund got to the puck first, caused the turnover, and put it in the net. The shoot-in sits right here, and you can see that the two players swipe with the puck at the same time, and Hunter, the fellow that shot it in, was allowed to go to the net unmolested. And you and I could have scored that one from there.
Well, maybe you could have. I'm not so sure I could have.
Well, Hunter hasn't scored very often, but he made the shoot-in and scored the goal, and it was a good diagonal shoot-in that came off the net, off the end of the rink, and the Edmonton player just beat the Winnipeg defenseman to the puck.
McClellan and McTavish drawing assists on Hunter's first goal of the playoffs. At 11:27, it's tied at 2. Ruotsalainen gets the draw. Rink wide pass to Hunter. He shoots it in. Going back after it is Dave Ellett. Plays it around on the boards. Hunter manages to keep it in. Ellett having problems getting out. Finally, it's knocked out to the neutral zone. Puck deflected high up into the crowd and out of play. Tonight's game is coming to you from the Coliseum in Edmonton. Maury Boschman putting them in front early in the first period. And then it was tied up by Glenn Anderson. Dale Howardchuk put them ahead early in the second. It's tied up by Dave Hunter. Into the center ice area. Hunter fighting along the boards, and they succeed. He and Smale and tying it up for a face-off.
Well, the game's heating up a little bit, and some of the players are getting upset with each other, and I think that's a good thing to improve the quality of the game. And this guy, Bergeron, looks a little awkward to me tonight. Now, I haven't seen enough of him to know what he really looks like on a regular basis, but this pass across comes right through the crease, and if he'd have stopped it, there'd have been no goal, and it went about 4 inches from his goal stick.
I think he probably realized that had he played that puck and stopped it or even deflected it.
He may have been worrying about a chip shot that would come out of the fact that the two sticks came together, and the Edmonton stick must have touched the puck first, but if he had it to do over again, you're right, he would have deflected the puck as it went across right in front of him.
Jim Kite chased behind his own net, trying to contend there with the speed of Nielsen and Anderson. Nielsen got to it, centered it, dumped out by the Jets. Huddy forced into his own zone, playing it behind the net, being bothered there by Howardchuk, gets away from him for Anderson. To Messier. Coming out with Paul Coffey and Nielsen. 3-on-3 and across the line. Nielsen to Messier. Messier going for the net. Bump there, tried to get it out front. It comes to the line for Coffey. Over to Huddy, lets the shot go wide. At the side of the net, Anderson is bumped. Messier comes in to pick it up. He tried to get it back to the line, and Mullen deflected it down the ice.
Well, that line gave us a little taste of how Edmonton can move and how they can move the puck.
Carlisle chased by Curry. Curry gets to it. Plays it for Gretzky out front for Muni. Couldn't get a good shot away as he was tied up by Marois. The puck loose in the Winnipeg zone, kept in by the Oilers. Boschman still all over Gretzky, and that's the reason for the fan reaction. Now the Jets start back. Andrew McBain with a long shot just wide. The big rebound comes back to McBain. He tried to move in, and it was knocked away by Craig Muni and dumped out to the neutral zone.
You have to wonder whether the scouting report that both coaches got from their scouts was to take some long shots on these goalies, because we've seen a lot of them that look like they had the goalie beaten but were just wide.
Kevin Lowe trying to get out of his own zone with 6:12 left in the period. It comes loose to Curry. Curry in across the line with Tikkanen. Tikkanen flipped it to an open wing, and it's picked off by Neufeld. Neufeld dumps it in for the Jets. Going back after it is Ruotsalainen. The Jets making a complete change. Long lead pass for Kevin Lowe. He shoots it in. It's knocked down by the Jets and fired down the ice. Kevin Lowe back into his own zone, being watched by Ron Wilson. Up along the boards for Mo LeMay, for Marty McSorley. He dumps it into the corner, races in after it, but Dave Ellett gets there first, unable to clear it. Brad Berry will now try and get it out. The Oiler defenseman doing a good job pitching in from the point, keeping that puck in the Winnipeg zone, but now it's brought out by Hamel with 5:17 left in the period. He tried to lead Wilson, it was too far, and it's dumped back out to center ice. Krushelnyski to McSorley, great wide pass, and it skipped away from Mo LeMay. Back comes Gilles Hamel. Hamel into the center ice area, stopped by Ruotsalainen. He dumps it in, and then takes a hit from Brad Berry. Loose puck in the Winnipeg zone. Krushelnyski gets it to Gregg. Gregg tried to go across ice. It's intercepted by Smale and clear. In the neutral zone, Krushelnyski did a good job down on the ice to control that puck. It's dumped in. Dave Ellett, or Tim Waters, I should say, overskated it, then takes a hit. It comes up along the boards. Now it's Kevin McClellan trying to play it out. Picked off by Gilles Hamel, and he dumps it in as the Jets make another change with 4:22 left in the period. The score tied at 2. Andrew McBain steals it in across the line with Hawerchuk. McBain with a shot high over the glass and out of play. This is the Stanley Cup playoffs on CBC. That appeared to be the result of a first period collision. He didn't see much action in the last 5 minutes of that first period. A long shot by Nielsen is gloved and held by Berthiaume with 4:03 remaining in the period. Shot right on, loose puck at the side of the net, and it's cleared by Mario Marois. Kite is taken into the corner, dug out by Anderson out front, and it bounced away from Messier. And Ray Neufeld for Winnipeg shoots it in. 3:45 remaining in the period. Steve Rooney races in, manages to keep it in, but is decked by Huddy in the process. Now the Oilers' Kent Nielsen breaks out with Paul Coffey. Coffey the line, and the Winnipeg Jets' Tim Waters dumps it down the ice. Going back after it is Charlie Huddy. A whistle on the play, and there's a penalty coming up.
I think you'll see a double penalty. Rooney and Coffey, who were swatting each other as they were returning to the Edmonton zone. At least Coffey was returning to the zone. And you recall Coffey had made the rush, and Rooney got in front of him as he tried to get back to his defense position, and that's where all this trouble began.
The score tied at 2 with 3:23 left in period 2. It was 1-1 after 20 minutes. The Oilers with a 17-12 edge in shots on goal.
Well, Edmonton has looked a little more dangerous in the last 6 or 7 minutes because the tempo of the game has picked up. And we see those end-to-end rushes, and I think that favors the Edmonton team. They do it a little better than most teams in the league.
Coffey and Rooney each getting 2 minutes for roughing at 16:37. Hawerchuk gets the draw to Carlisle. Through traffic, his shot knocked down by McTavish. McTavish breaks out. McTavish coming in against Waters, a shot in the save as Berthiaume kicks it to the corner. There's going to be a penalty here against the Winnipeg Jets.
Well, I think you're going to see Carlisle go to the box. His shot was blocked, and as he tried to hustle back, knowing he was caught, he tripped the Edmonton player who was trying to get up on the rush. It was well behind the play, but Kerry Fraser, who was well behind the play, saw it. They called it hooking instead of tripping, but the guy went down, and here it is. You see him in the middle of the screen right there. And Berthiaume had to make a bit of a save on McTavish, who got not a breakaway, but a half a breakaway anyway, and he couldn't make it, so he had to cut inside the Winnipeg defenseman, and as he did, he shot it.
So the Oilers get another power play opportunity, but so far, with Randy Carlisle looking on from the penalty box, the Jets have done an excellent job in shutting down that Edmonton power play. They are missing one of their premier penalty killers with Thomas Steen in the dressing room. He and Andrew McBain work as one unit, Ron Wilson and Doug Smale as the other. Washman will be out there to take all the face-offs, though. He goes to the bench now, and Smale comes out with Wilson. Mario Marois unable to get it out. Randy Gregg in deep. Plays it around the boards. Ruotsalainen for Nielsen. Back to the net for Anderson. Anderson tied up by Marois. Manages to get it loose. Back to the line. Ruotsalainen to Kent Nielsen. Kent Nielsen drops it back to Ruotsalainen. A shot saved by Bergion. He's down. The puck dumped ahead and banged off the boards for Ron Wilson. Ron Wilson coming in. Takes a shot. Toe saved by Grant Fuhr, who came out to challenge. In the center ice area, Tim Waters gets the puck and fires it in deep with 1 minute remaining in the penalty to Randy Carlyle.
Two good stops in the last 30 seconds. Bergion on a deflection. And Fuhr on Wilson's long shot, but he had to make a great stop with his left toe, or it would have been a shorthanded goal.
McBain failed to clear. Gretzky has it. Gretzky back to the point to Charlie Huddy. Over to Randy Gregg. Gregg looking for Gretzky. Knocked down, but Gretzky gets it back to Huddy. It bounced over his stick and down the ice.
And Edmonton won't shoot. It must drive Sather and Muckler nuts, because they've got some guys who can really shoot it, but they keep wanting to pass it and trying to pass it through traffic. Winnipeg's got that quickness, and they cut those alleys off very well.
The fans now beginning to get on the Oilers, and their power play just a little here in the second period. Fired in with Jim Kite. Getting it along the boards to Wilson. He clears the zone. Here's a 2-on-1 for Winnipeg. Marois trying to catch up with Smale. Smale took the initial shot. It's blocked. Smale still has it. Leaves it back of the net. Gary Curry starts out for the Oilers, and the penalty to Carlyle has expired. Smale steals it. Smale tried to tee it up, but it was partially deflected by Kevin Lowe. We're into the final minute of this second period with the score tied at 2. The Oilers move out of their own zone. Curry for Tikkanen. Back to Curry. He and Gretzky come in across the line. Curry going for the net, and then is checked by Paul McLean. McLean, rink-wide pass for Brian Mullen. In across the line, it's left for Dave Ellett, but apparently it came out just across the line. And it's offside with 36 seconds left in the period.
Well, Sather knows that not only is it vital to win the first game and maintain your home ice advantage, but he realizes that it may break the confidence that Winnipeg has acquired through a very successful playoff with Calgary. And I think he thinks that's as important as maintaining the home ice advantage. Here's a stop Berthiaume makes. Watch the tip in here by Gregg. And Berthiaume stands his ground and makes the stop. And here is the stop that Fuhr makes. Watch how far the net Fuhr is. But he still has to make a nice stop with his left leg. Had he been back further in the net, I don't think he could have got that shot.
Deflected down the ice, Tim Waters plays it off the glass. Picked up by Dale Howardchuk coming in against Craig Muni. Howardchuk put on a good move, tried to center it, nobody there. It goes back of the net. Muni moving it up along the boards with 9 seconds remaining in the period. McTavish in across the line trying to go around Gilles Hamel. Is unsuccessful, and the puck is brought out. A breakaway for Winnipeg would have been upcoming, but the siren sounds to end the period. And so the score after 40 minutes is Edmonton 2, Winnipeg 2.